My brother works as a janitor at an elementary school, cleaning the place late at night. The school is empty at that time, and it feels a bit creepy with the long, dark hallways and flickering lights. To pass the time, he usually listens to YouTube videos with his headphones on. One night, while sitting alone in a small office, he heard something strange. A child's voice, loud and clear, said, "Clean my bench." He froze. It sounded so real that he quickly pulled off his headphones and looked around, but no one was there. The door was closed, and the building was completely locked up for the night. Feeling uneasy, he grabbed his flashlight and stepped into the hallway to check if someone had somehow gotten inside. The school was silent. No footsteps, no voices, nothing. He searched every classroom and corner, but everything was empty. Still, the voice had been so clear. Then, he remembered something. The memorial bench. Outside the school, near the playground, there was a small bench dedicated to a boy who had died in an accident a year ago. My brother didn't know much about the boy, only that he had been hit by a car while walking home. Feeling a strange pull, he decided to check the bench. When he got outside, the air was cold and still. The bench was there, just like always, but it was dirty, covered in leaves and dirt from the wind. Thinking about the voice he'd heard, my brother cleaned it thoroughly, making sure it looked as good as new. After that night, nothing strange happened again. But now, he always makes sure that bench is spotless. He never told anyone about the voice, not even the boy's family. Growing up, I always had trouble sleeping. I often experienced something called sleep paralysis, where I'd wake up but couldn't move or speak, and it felt like something heavy was pressing down on me. After my mom blessed my room, these episodes stopped for a while. But one night, about a year ago, it came back. I woke up in the middle of the night, freezing. My room was always warm, but that night, it felt icy cold. I tried to pull the blanket up, but I couldn't move. My whole body felt stuck. At first, I thought I was dreaming, but then I heard a loud ringing noise in my ears. Every time I tried to move, the ringing got louder, almost like it was warning me not to. That's when I realized I wasn't alone. I couldn't explain how I knew, but I could feel someone, or something, in the room with me. My heart was pounding as I fought to move or scream, but my body wouldn't listen. Summoning all my courage, I finally opened my eyes. In the corner of my room, where the shadows were darkest, I saw it. A tall, dark figure stood there watching me. It had horns, 2 sharp points sticking out of its head, and its body seemed to shift and flicker, like smoke. I tried to scream, but no sound came out. The ringing in my ears grew louder, almost deafening. I closed my eyes, praying silently in my head. "God, please protect me," I repeated over and over. Then I heard it, a voice, deep and cruel, speaking right into my mind. "God can't help you anymore." The voice was so real, so close, that I felt tears streaming down my face. I kept praying, even though I was terrified. Suddenly the ringing stopped, and the cold lifted. When I opened my eyes again, the figure was gone, and I could move. That night I didn't sleep again. I stayed awake watching the shadows, waiting for it to come back. When I was 12 years old, I visited a friend who lived in a huge old house in North Wales. It was almost like a mansion, with tall ceilings, creaky floors, and big empty rooms. One afternoon, we decided to rehearse a play we were working on in their ballroom. The room was massive, with large windows that let in soft, dusty light. It felt cold inside, even though it was sunny. The room was mostly empty, except for a few old chairs stacked in a corner. My friend was practicing her lines while I sat cross-legged on the floor, watching her. That's when I saw it. The folding doors at the back of the room creaked open, just slightly, and a shadowy figure slipped inside. It was tall and moved oddly, almost sideways, like a crab. Its body seemed to blend into the dim light, making it hard to focus on. At first, I thought it was one of her family members, but the way it moved made my skin crawl. It didn't walk like a person. It sort of glided, its movements jerky but silent. I looked at my friend, expecting her to notice it too, but she kept performing, completely unaware of what was happening behind her. My chest felt tight as I tried to call out to her, but no sound came out. The figure kept moving closer, staying along the walls, as if it didn't want to be seen. My instincts screamed at me to get up and run, but I was frozen in place, staring at it. Finally, I managed to whisper, "We need to leave." My friend looked at me, confused, but I grabbed her arm and pulled her out of the room. Once we were in the hallway, my heart was racing. I asked her if she had seen it, but she just shrugged and said, "Oh, you saw the shadow man? Don't worry, he's harmless. Everyone sees him here." I couldn't believe how calm she was. To her, this thing was just part of the house, like a creaky floorboard or a drafty window. But to me, it felt wrong, like it wasn't supposed to be there. After that, I refused to go back into that ballroom. Every time I visited her house, I felt like I was being watched,